the show with Tactical Visor on all of the statistics and analysis. Here are your You are listening to Overwatch League Network, the podcast with Deadeye on all the latest Overwatch League news and information. The show with Tactical Visor on all of the statistics and analysis. Here are your hosts, Booger and Tanura.
Welcome to the new episode of the Overwatch League Network, coming to you live on this Monday night to bring you all the up-to-date news about the Overwatch League off-season and, well, yeah, that's what we're pretty much going to talk about. I'm Booger, and this is my friend Anura, and before we really get into Overwatch League, it's been a little while since we talked. How's it been going?
Sorry. I was muted. I forgot. So it's been good. It's been a good couple weeks, I guess. Last time we had some technical difficulties. We couldn't really get in, and then I think both Thursday, it just ended up being a bad timing on both of our parts. So it turned into something worse. But we're back. I'm excited. If you didn't know, which I don't assume you guys knew, I got blocked by the most prolific tweet leaker in the Overwatch League for sending him a laughing GIF for when he got something wrong. So I mean, honestly, I find this hilarious. So I don't know how's your weeks been?
Oh, it's not bad. Just it's starting to get cold here, so a lot of the fun is fizzling out, especially when, it's that there's not a lot going on right now, so pretty much the only thing I've been doing is skateboarding, and now I'm starting to be like, oh shit, not time for that when it gets snowy. But yeah, about last week, we came in here and I was like, I sat down and was getting ready to record, and my computer, it started the Windows update thing and said, this may take a very long time. And then it's like 45 minutes later, I'm like, Nura, I'm sorry, I have no clue what to do, because it just blues on you and it just takes forever. And it ended up taking about 2.5 hours to do, and I could not keep keeping Nura up that late, because we're actually in different time zones. So it when it's not super late for me, it's starting to get kind of bad timing for him. So, but
and also I work early in the morning, so it really doesn't help there.
Yeah, but now we're all set, and let's go ahead and mention this at the very top of the show. 11 minutes ago, the Los Angeles Gladiators tweeted, "All aboard! We depart from the station in 10 minutes." So
yeah, it's been departed now.
We're kind of.
You like to make the sound effects?
Oh, it just went through. We were actually right before the show, and Nura's like, I think they're about to sign Moth, and I'm like, dude, read it. It says, all aboard. They just joined the Shoo train, and the Los Angeles Gladiators have signed former flex support from the Guangzhou Charge Shu, in addition to their earlier signing this week of a main tank named Muse. So, Nura, actually, this is kind of huge for your favorite team. So, what are you stoked to have Shu joining the team?
I'm so bummed. God, Shu, really? God, I'd hate. No, I'm not. Honestly, this is fantastic. I like Shu. I think he's underrated. I think everyone can always say something about the Guangzhou Charge, and it's underrated. I think most of their players, whether they actually are or they're just talked about how they're underrated, at least get that feeling. I think Shu, honestly, is one of the best flex supports. I'm glad to see him on the Gladiators team. And then we got Muse, which, if you guys don't know who Muse is, he's one of the best Winstons I've ever seen. Like, he's so good. And I don't know, like his other main tanks are nothing to scoff at as well. Easily probably the second best contenders pick up for a main tank. And that's just saying based off of Mag's previous history. I think Muse definitely has a chance to be better, especially if we develop him right. I'm excited because this is the first time we've really had a solid, consistent main tank in a while. I think OGE had his highs and lows. I really enjoyed him on the team. I think he's great for content. I think honestly, he still has the shot to being like one of the best main tanks in the league, but it obviously just like he has some streaky issues that he needs to fill out, and Muse definitely fills that for us. So we went from having no one to having two amazing players out of nowhere, and so it's fantastic. It looks like this offseason is it's looking bright. And like last year was like bright, but like we were questionable about Bird Ring and how OGE was going to perform, and now and I mean we had Mirror and Jaru as a DPS line that a lot of people were questioning. This is like these are known factors. These guys are good. And that's really it's kind of nice. It feels secure. What do you think about them?
Oh, dude. Okay, so when they let go of Shaz, I'm like, why would they do that? Dude's been like legit, and now I'm just like, oh, because they got Shu. They probably knew that. It makes a ton of sense. He 100% is in that conversation for one of the best flex supports, period. Like, Shu is god level at Ana, so yeah, this is, I don't know. Glads are looking like a new team, but I mean that's a lot to look forward to for a Gladiators fan. And then Muse, I really didn't know that much about him before the Glads signed him, and I went back and watched some of the highlights, then a game or two from that he was played in before and stuff like that, and it's like he's pretty legit. So looks like the Gladiators are, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to fill in the rest of their squad, but they are looking to maintain that
the rest of the main support.
Pretty much. Yeah. We'll have to see how that goes. But I think they might have more than just that. You know what I'm saying? I think they might have another pickup or two. So
yeah, I could see that. I could also see them running light in the beginning and picking up a few people along the way, but you never know.
See, that also could be something that we're going to see a lot of. I didn't even think about that, but we're kind of okay. So I think I think homestands are kind of going to not happen again for the next season, and if they do, I don't think it'll happen at the beginning of the season. So I think teams, you're pretty right bringing that up. I wonder if there'll be more teams that are just like, okay, so we are going to get the minimum number of players for the start of the season, and then if we can make some money somewhere else, like those homestands were going to be a lot of dough for the teams, and them missing out on that is last year I think and this next year is going to affect a ton. It's kind of makes me definitely curious to see if we're going to see a lot more pickups like after the season starts, but it also opens up like there's almost no reason that they couldn't revert away from going to the homestand models and instead be able to do it like kind of like the NBA did the bubble, but then with esports you don't even have to really be in the same room. Like they could literally have facilities and base teams out of LA or some other city again. You know what I'm saying? Like we didn't even put this on the show notes because it just come up as an idea for me. Do you think there's any chance that we're going to have the league return to a like single city season just for another year? Because this year when they plan the 21 season, they're going to be able to know that homestands are either going to be very unlikely or not at a full capacity. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really curious. What do you think, Anura? Do you think that we're going to see the teams try to go to the geolocation again this next year?
I don't think homestands are happening this next year.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I think Asia is a really good spot to have a lot of LAN tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
So I see more of the Asian teams probably getting a lot of more LAN, probably in-person experiences that we wouldn't have had previously. If you guys didn't just look at the news, I'm pretty sure they just came out with a vaccine that is 90% positive. There's probably going to be a few more testing, but we have 6 or 5 more months before Overwatch League starts. Hopefully in 6 months, it's a different situation to where maybe we'll have NA games that are LAN. Maybe. We don't know for sure. I'm hoping.
See,
I'm
I
hoping
just
that
don't think
this is the most positive I can be right now. But yeah, you never know.
I just don't think it'd be a good idea for them to like plan that from the start. Like maybe if they can have a like live events towards the end of the year, because there's no way.
Yeah, no, I think
There's
the
no
beginning of
way.
the year is literally going to be planned, or
Yeah,
probably in a month or
but see,
two.
where
Like that.
this past year they went to no homestands and they had to hurry and rush and find a system to do it online. Now they could really take this 6 month off season or whatever and find a way to be like, oh, we're gonna base this out of, X city. So honestly, somewhere like Chicago where you would have like, I don't know, so in the middle where they just have teams in the same area and they could play lands without even having to be like in the same room. A wire could run safely, and that way there's a possibility to not have ping, but that's a whole nother discussion. I'm just kind of came up with the idea that they could plan it that way. But you know we do actually have more than just the gladiators. We have a significant amount of new player signings since the last time we talked. Since the last time we talked, and I think a good team for us to start with for the player signings, I think, would be the Dallas Fuel, because they have signed Repel, ex Outlaw, ex Vancouver Titan, and they have signed Fielder, who was picked up by Paris mid-season this past year and went nuts, being like an amazing flex support on high ping. So now we're going to get to see him, his true form unleashed. And on top of that, the Dallas Fuel in another wave signed Fearless, Shanghai Dragons main tank that really, really blossomed as a player through the 2020 season. So that's huge for Dallas. And here's another one. They signed Aid, former Toronto Defiant, etc. player, as an assistant coach. So that's a lot of changes for a Dallas team who is almost entirely rebuilding, and a lot of people are pretty hyped for this Dallas lineup. They still got a couple more signings to make, but Anura, what do you think about these? The Repel, Fielder, Fearless.
Well, Repel Fielder, I mean, like, they're not as good as Shoe. Personally, maybe it's biased now, whatever you want to say. But in all actuality, those are two great pickups. It's a little interesting they went two flex supports, especially before they signed a main support. But both of these guys are solid. Repel had a solid season with the Outlaws, and Fielder was honestly one of the most exciting things to see on ping. His honest also insane. But you got to look at that like, that's amazing. That's great. It's just fantastic. But then they signed Fearless. You serious? This is a guy who was literally, I'd put him top two, maybe the best main tank in the Overwatch League last year. I want to talk about how Shanghai talked about how they let him go because he wanted to go join this Dallas Fuel team. And so we're excited to see that, and we're excited to see like this Shanghai roster being like, yeah, the player wanted to leave, we'll try to fill a hole, but they weren't going to just let him not have a say in it, and I think that was really cool on them. But Dallas looks like overall this is already a top 3 team. I do say that with a bit of salt, because you look at Paris. This is mostly Paris roster, and Paris did have a really good season, but they were missing a few things. And I'm wondering, is Fearless the whole? I know Ben Best is and Nosemind are no Fearless easily, not even like on the same page. They upgraded there against the old Paris roster, and then they have main support that they'd have to upgrade from FD God, which is going to be really hard. And maybe some they have Doha now, which is fair, but XE was amazing. So I want to see a hit scan signing. I want to see a really good main support signing before I really start believing in this team. But right now, I mean, Dallas is in that part where you don't start being like, well, they tried their best. This is like, now we start grading them on everything they do, because this team should be fantastic.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, like I don't know. I feel like with Dallas, we've had this discussion before where it's like going into the next year, oh, this team looks really good, and it doesn't work out. It's almost like it's like Dallas Dennis Systems, their team. If any Always Sunny fans know what I'm talking
I don't
about,
think
and
I don't think we had that though.
they're on the eye, they're on the Inspire Hope. So let's just see if they separate entirely by the end of the season. But I don't know. I think because here's the difference this year with Dallas though, they don't have the same coach, and they got rid of a bunch of their staff after the whole decay controversy that we've talked about for weeks when it happened. So we don't need to go back through that again. But I think that's the biggest thing is what's happened to Dallas. Is it like a Dallas curse, or was it just duty management? And this year we'll be able to know for sure which of those it would be. But that's what I think. We covered what we know about Dallas, so we could talk about the other Texas team, the better Texas team, who have extended their contract with Dante for the Outlaws. So now Houston Outlaws have 2 players, both of which are pretty
Huge.
sick. Yeah,
Huge.
dude, they got Dante and Hydration. And for
Hydration, no, you have a full squad now.
They got all 3
Hydration plays
roles.
everything, and so. And I mean, Dante, I think number one in everything else as well. You guys are the most flexible people I've ever
If
seen.
you've been keeping track of the online leaderboards, Dante number 1, top 500, like combined whatever. Like you know how they do the combined SRs. He's number 1 out of everything, like combined all together. So it's like
it's not even close. I'm pretty sure. Like he's it.
Dude, his DPS SR is just like, I didn't know it went that high. Like, it's pretty insane. So, the dude is not only talented, but a grinder. And that's kind of what we've talked about as when we talk about Houston is like, oh, let's just, they should just build around Dante. And I think some of us said build around Dante but I think I was talking about keeping Neko, but it looks like they're going to go Dante Hydration. And Hydration is just, he got that cool guy factor, so I'm sick for him. It's sick that he's going to be on the team. I'm curious if we're going to be able to, like, maybe see him switch back to DPS, or if he's just going to end up filling a support empty role or something. But either way, Outlaws, they're up to 2 players now, and both of them look tight. Was this surprising to you?
I mean, no. These are probably the 2. Honestly, Hydration staying was a little surprising when I knew it. I was like, this makes sense. It's gonna be more surprising to see what Hydration sticks to. So right now he is listed as a tank on the free agent list, but I don't know if that was just because they didn't know where to put him, or because he's completely switched. He did play DPS. He played DPS. He played Farah on your game where you guys got destroyed by Boston, right? In the playoffs, right? Yeah, the one that you guys lost a lot, really badly to. But sorry. Okay, overall, I think this is honestly 2 really good starting pieces, and based off of some rumors, it looks like it's going to be an interesting team of people you probably haven't heard, but they're really good. And you guys, it should be exciting. This should be an exciting team, and I don't know how well they're going to do, especially with some of these super teams that are being built, like insane teams being built. But I'm going to be honest. I think they're on a better start. I mean, they got rid of Muma. Boink's no longer on the team. You only can go up from there, I think.
I mean, there's not much further to fall. So we'll keep our eyes peeled for future moves along, for the rest of the off season. But I wouldn't mind talking about the Houston Outlaws for the entire podcast. But I'm pretty sure some of our listeners want to hear about the other teams. So we have Seoul Dynasty, who have decided to keep their contracts with Fitz, Marvel, and Creative, which, oh man, just still the story of Creative was the meme in some of our fantasy Overwatch League drafts, to be like, you're going to pick Creative to pop an off in the grand finals and literally being in the finals. Like, we thought Homeboy was going to be bench boy, and now look here, he's probably going to be the like starting main flex support for the whole next year for Seoul. And Marvel, he has been pretty outstanding with Tank. So we're going to see Marvel and Gesture some more, which is just their skills overlap a lot. And then we got Fitz, who was making it happen in the grand finals. So seems like all good moves for Seoul. Seoul literally went like from average team to top of the league in the grand finals to dude, this year if they play their cards right, they can literally pick up where they left off just at the top of the league for real, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I think this is the most obvious signings you can make for them. I think Marvel and Creative have been really strong on their positions. Marvel's had it's a weird life for Marvel on that team. But overall, I think this is a smart move. I mean, Dynasty really has that fire when they're keeping people like Gesture and Profit to where build some good pieces that you believe in around them, and hopefully if you're in the right meta, like I believe they were in this playoffs, then you should be able to make it far, and that's really strong. I don't know how well they will be at building a super team right now. I think they have a few things where you're like, who knows? I mean, Creative staying, Bedosen's leaving. I guess that's what's happening now. I don't know what's going on with Bedosen. I wonder if he's going to get signed to another team. I'd assume he would. Still think he's a strong player, but it's one of those things where I'm interested in Seoul right now. This is a very interesting team where can they find consistency, or will they just be what they've been? London Spitfire had a really good first stage and a really good playoff run in the first season. They ended up winning it. Did not do so well, and then they sold all their players. So let's see how Dynasty does. If they have like a really lackluster season, then I could see them maybe trying something absolutely new. But right now, it looks like this is literally like a roll of the dice. I don't think you can go wrong here, if that makes any sense. Like it's a good bet to have with Gesture and Profit.
I fully agree with you. But we actually next on our list have probably one of the biggest off-season trades so far, and Mono from the New York Excelsior getting traded to the Philadelphia Fusion. And like, holy moly, we figured we were going to see a bunch of changes from New York this year, but Mono to the Fusion, that was who predicted that, dude? Nobody. Like, first of all, Fusion still has Sato, and then they needed a Mono because Sato was the weak link. Dude, break this one down for me, because I think a lot of the community was left just kind of scratching their heads like, why'd Philly need another main tank? And why did they need another main tank that's probably like dollar bills, dude? Like, he's been playing for New York. They're like, you're not gonna get a league minimum contract coming off of starting for the New York Excelsior for 3 years.
Well, you're also not going to get a league minimum for playing with Fusion ever. I don't think that's ever going to happen.
It might.
If that makes any sense. They don't care about money. Minimum? Who
Oh yeah,
knows?
his brother was one of the coaches, so
that's not even
got
like
a little bit more.
But yeah, who knows what his contract was, and even if he was, like, Chipso wasn't a signing for the team. Like there's team signings, and then there's like the roster. It's like they had an extra spot. They said, screw it. This is not just like an extra spot. Screw it. This is we have a game plan for this guy. And it could have been as big as, hey, we're opening this up for you today. Do you want to take this deal? And they're like, sure. And they yoink Mono. Who knows? At this point, right now, we don't know what's going on with Fusion. Fusion's an interesting team right now. I think Hisu's still on the market. We don't know what's going on with him. Ikio's gone. There's a lot of question marks for this team, especially on the DPS core. And now, I guess, Tank Lion, since we don't know what's going on with Fury and Sato. Looks like Sato might be trying to be traded off, or they finally got Sato to have a lot of confidence, and now they're risking it and getting a 2 main tank system. But the problem is, I don't know which one's going to play which main tank. Overall, who knows? I think it'd be cool to see 2 main tanks with Sato Mono. That's an insane tank duo for main tanks. That's almost on par with Super Smurf, in my opinion. It really lets them focus on certain things, which would be really cool to see. But if they trade off Sato, that's fine too. Okay. This is I wouldn't say it's big. I think honestly the bigger thing was Fearless being traded to Dallas.
Okay,
but that's just based off of like what I think. It's not even a big deal. Overall, this is super interesting to see what. First of all, what's going on with NYXL? We have no idea. We have no idea what's going on with NYXL. It's a weird system right now. We don't know who's getting traded where, how that's all happening. But more about the fusion. What are they doing? Like, what's their plan to get Seriously? Better than what they were at?
So I definitely think Sato's going to a different team. I don't think Sato Mono stay on the same lineup, and that other team just probably isn't ready to announce that they've signed Sato. They might be waiting league approval, something like that. I do not think that they stay on the same team. It just doesn't seem like it would. It just doesn't seem like it would make sense. But we're also talking about the same team that kept Fury and Poco last year. So, is it possible that Philly's trying to do the whole 12-man 2-team thing, and they're gonna have Poco Sato or Poco on one team, and then Mono and Fury on another? Like.
I mean, I don't think that's what's gonna happen.
I really do think that Sato's traded and it's just not announced. That's my opinion. But like we've seen other teams try to do that before, but not quite like with that caliber of players. You know what I'm saying? And it also says that Mono was traded to the Fusion. So did they trade just cash, or did maybe they trade Mono for Sato, and New York is just like, no, we ain't leaking any of our trades. We're not talking about it until we do our 7-man roster reveal video, because that would be a pretty New York thing to do, and just not tell anybody, any of the players they have, to keep it under wraps, and then say come like, you know, a couple months from now, or like right before the season starts, be like, check out this sick video we have, boom, boom, and you know. Well, New York's always had a good media department like that, so they might be just wanting to drop us all at once. But they could have traded for cash too. Like, but the word they traded, they got something for Mono. It wasn't like, oh, his contract was up and Philly snagged him. Like, New York benefited from this, or New York thought they were going to benefit from this. So it is interesting, because I kind of really wish that they made it public if what they traded for him. Like, did they pay big money? And if they did, I want to know how much. Like, I want. It
had to be a trade because he was under contract. 100% had to be a trade.
Yeah,
There's no way. Be a
trade, but you could trade for cash. They could have just sent them like a check.
Oh yeah, you could. You could trade for gumballs. I don't know, but overall, I still think it really does. I think if it was a trade for players, they would have announced it as well, because they would also announce Fusion would have to announce them leaving. I don't think they're like, hey, let's hold on to this for a few months.
Well, they don't have
I don't think that's not how it works. I think literally it was traded player for money. It would have been a lot easier to figure that out overall, because New York Excel would probably have to talk about it. Fusion would probably have to talk about it. It's a 1-for-1 trade.
Because the trades aren't public. Like, they don't have.
Okay, who would they trade for? Who would they trade for?
Mono for Sato. Straight up main tank trade. That totally.
No, I don't think anyone would take that trade. I know, because it's a stupid trade.
You're right, but if there's money with it on top of that,
maybe. But I think also they would have talked about it by now. I'm guaranteeing you they would have talked about Sato leaving.
But I think it's up to the teams to decide, like, when
I think it
reveal.
Is.
So, like,
I think it's 100% up to the team to decide when they reveal. I think that's the one thing they do decide.
Leaving. So you're saying even if he was going to New York, we wouldn't have heard, oh, they traded Mono for Sato. We would hear they traded for Mono. Oh, Sato is now Not part of the.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I
At
got
the
you.
end of the day, I don't think this really matters. Because the whole thing of we don't know what's going on with Fusion, we absolutely do not know. We'll still hold to this day until we figure out what's both of those teams. All we know is that Fusion has 9K now, and we don't know what NYXL is doing. And so 9K has a vision. His vision has mono in it. I believe in 9K. 9K is pretty good. So I'm excited to see what he can do.
Yeah. We can go ahead and talk a new signing that was made very recently. Was it? It was either earlier today or yesterday. They announced that Jerry from the Boston Uprising is going to be playing for the Washington Justice. So when we saw some glimpses of him with Boston Uprising, like, yo, this dude's better than Boston. And now he's going to Washington to play alongside Decay. So we're going to see Decay Jerry. That's actually, like, pretty badass. Like, Jerry showed off some pretty good Hanzo. He showed off some really good Tracer, but Decay is definitely the Tracer dude. I don't know. It seems like Decay and Jerry do overlap quite a bit, but also I think people that overlap can still play together. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not.
Well, Decay and Jerry overlap just because Decay plays everything. That
That is a
dude
good
is.
point.
It's not based on anything else. It's just that Decay plays a lot of different characters.
That is a very good point. So, see that honestly too, this is like huge opportunity for Jerry to get, like, he already has a fan base, and then we're gonna see him get, like, the with the K, he might even have the, like, the, you know what I'm trying to say, like a I don't know what to call him, like a protege or something like that, to, like, pick up on some of those skills and play with him. And that dude, that's a DPS line that will could honestly be way stronger than either of those two players were before. You know what I'm saying? Like, Decay didn't really play that well with Dallas. He played tank. Oh, that is a good question. Is Decay could have maybe come to play tank for the Justice?
I mean, I think if it's a Zarya meta, I think there's going to be a lot of DPS players that will do that.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about something I see a lot. It kind of reminds me of is I still think that they're probably in talks with people like Stitch and maybe some other hit scans that are out there. I think Jerry is definitely more of a not saying that he isn't good at all, but this is more. I feel like it's more of a Pine situation where he's a fan favorite. Why not sign him? This is especially since the homestand that was chanting Jerry was literally the Washington homestand. It's proven fact that people in Washington do like this Jerry guy. I like Jerry. I want to see him succeed. If you find ways to put him in maps, he's going to be so much fun to watch just because people like him so much. Not saying that he can't, like, find a starting position, but I can still see them being an absolute hit scan specialist on certain situations where Decay and Tuba wouldn't be able to play together because whatever you want to say. But double hit scan metas easily. You can have Jerry, Decay. Who knows? Maybe Stitch, Decay. Maybe Stitch, Jerry. Who knows? If Stitch is still staying. But for me, I see this more as maybe this is a star signing, as in we signed him because I know he's gonna sell jersey, and I think he will.
Oh, I think
One thing I have, like,
gets substantial playtime.
he could. Now, this is definitely, we saw him on Boston. Completely different story. Yeah, we saw him on Boston. This is not Boston. Obviously, already not Boston. There's no way this team will turn into a 20th seat. Not with the K on the team. 0% chance. Wow. I hope that doesn't bite me in the ass somehow.
Don't
But
jinx it, because we don't even know who they're getting next.
they have Mag and Decay. I'm totally fine with saying this. I literally, if I get that wrong, then I don't know. That's just the worst luck ever, because it should be a done deal to win some games. But overall,
what if they sign Muma and Stardom and end up 20th
over Mag?
I gotta eat my words.
There's no world where they sign Muma when they've already gone full Korean. and start him over.
Isn't there crazier things that have happened in the Overwatch League? Anyways, we'll save speculation for later. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, no, but overall, I think that it's a fun move. I'm excited to see what Jerry can do with the squad. I always say I'm excited to see what they can do because I am. But overall, I think this is all the best move Jerry's made. He's out of it. We've saved Jerry. Jerry has been saved. Thank the Lord. We still have to get Myung out of there. Apparently, he wants to stay. What's the theory? Not the theory, but like when people get stuck in
Stockholm
inside, like someone captures them and then they start falling. Yeah, Stockholm syndrome. I think Young Wing's got a little bit of Stockholm syndrome, but overall, I hope we can get him out of there soon. Or maybe Boston will be good next year. We've seen crazier stuff. Look at Dallas, you know.
True, that is true. And then we have the Toronto Defiant have signed Beast back on to be part of their team. So they were pretty confident in Beast. So that's pretty sick. I was a little bit surprised. I thought Toronto was going like full on everything new, but it looks like that is not really the case. So what do you think about Beast, dude?
I think this is fine. And if you're a Toronto Defiant fan, can't believe back, this is fine. Take a deep breath. You have 2 players on your team. You're going to be fine. This is literally part of the roster building, is finding out, even if he might be a backup, he might be a starter. Give him a second to pick the whole squad before you start freaking out, being like, Beast is the worst, whatever. We talk so much trash about Sato, and just to see how he developed over an off season. This is a long off season. This guy Beast was literally meant to be developed, and then ended up with no head coach and no GM to develop him. So where would he be able to be developed in those 2 situations? There's 0%. He still has a shot to be a good player in this league. He still has a shot to be a good main tank. Under the right coaching and tutelage, I still believe this guy could be pretty good. His mechanics are really solid. I give it a chance. Hopefully, and if you don't, then hope for another main tank signing soon. But right now, you have Logix, you have Beast. Wait. Just wait a second. KDG does not make stupid signings out of nowhere. Like he will figure out a way. He made a really good roster with Fusion. He made a really solid roster with Seoul Dynasty the year prior, which was the 2-team system we talked about just a second ago. The A and B squad that got ruined by Fisher wanting to retire, no longer be able to have the A and B. But give him a shot. Let him build this roster. I do think he's pretty good at it. So give it a shot. I know there's a lot of people who like Beast or don't like Beast. He's a very divisive person when it comes to skill. People just don't think he's that good. I still think he has the mechanics to do it.
Oh, for sure. I definitely think he's still Overwatch League level. I don't know. I thought Toronto was kind of boom, blowing it up and coming back. But either way, that brings us up to date with all of our confirmed roster signings for the off season so far. We do want to talk about Overwatch League adjacent. The Overwatch League store is having a 50% off, or let me clarify that. If you spend enough money, it's 50% off sale, so you can pick up some jerseys for half off. Anura let me know about this earlier, and I was just checking it out. Those jerseys that were running $150, you can now pick up for $75, and then you can get the jerseys without the names on them for $45 with the new coupon code. So if you were looking at some Overwatch League jerseys, that is definitely something to keep your eye on, because that was kind of like one of the factors that kept me from wanting to get any of them, is they're just so expensive. But $45 for a jersey is it's a little bit more manageable to me. So Anura, you have any eyes on jerseys you might want to pick up right now?
Yeah, so just so you guys know, it's 45% off, 50% off for orders over $50, and 40% for orders over $0. So no matter what, everything's 40%. Oh my god, it ends in 2 hours. Oh god, it ends
I
in
just
two
saw
hours. They
that
won't even
too.
get
As
to
soon
know
as
it.
we finished the
Oh god, I gotta
podcast,
buy
they
the
went to
jerseys
do
now.
something.
But so I'm buying a jersey. Congratulations, you get to hear that I'm buying a jersey.
Who are
You're
you getting?
not.
Bird ring?
I'm getting no. I'm getting mirror. I said I was gonna
Okay.
get mirror jersey. I'm gonna get a mirror jersey. And wow, 2 hours. I'm so glad we talked about this today because I
Seriously
thought it
though,
was
because
gonna
I
be a
just bumped
while.
it up to like get the legit numbers and
Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm spending like $70 on a $140 jersey. So
yeah.
yeah, this is great. Sorry that
Well,
you guys missed this.
see,
Maybe
oh,
there'll be
there's
another
people
deal
watching
soon.
live, but see here's the deal though. For Houston, I don't know what players are coming back, so it might be time to pick up one of those like jerseys without the player names on them. They're significantly
Do that, or
cheaper.
you should get a Dante jersey because he's
See,
basically
that's what
your
I
your
thought, but
player.
also the ones without the name is half of the half, and I'm kind of a hat guy. I actually have more than 50% of the Outlaws hats that have come out, but I don't have that black and camo one. So that might actually be my move as a camo Outlaws hat. We'll have to see. Either way, this is not a
Yeah.
fashion podcast. We are an Overwatch League podcast.
We talked about the jerseys for a while
We
last time.
really have, but that's also because I
We
was
really
like,
did.
why are
And
they
I really
so
did like them.
expensive?
They were expensive, but I liked them. I still like
I do
them, and now they're
too.
not as
And
expensive.
you want to
So
know for real though, they might do an. Here's the thing: is I might take the gamble and wait because they might do an even better sale in like a couple months. You know what I'm saying? Because I got
oh
one
yeah,
of those
Black Friday's
third.
coming up.
Oh, that's true. Because I got my
Yeah.
third kit jersey. I got a Lynxer third kit that I ended up only spending like $29.99 on because they dropped them down and dropped them down. And when they released the new jerseys that they have, they made the old ones, the third kits, even cheaper. So I might wait and see for the like 21 jersey announcements, and I might just hold myself off with like a fancy little hat. I don't know. I see. I got a Lynxer third kit, and then I have one of the season one jerseys. It's a Raucous jersey that's autographed. So I don't know. Maybe I don't need any more jerseys, but
No, I'm buying more jerseys if there's more sales.
yeah,
Sorry, if it's a better sale, I'm like, oh damn, now I have to get a bird ring
you
jersey
just
or a
gotta
space jersey.
yeah.
Oh man, darn it. Let me get a custom jersey with the new player that we just got. Maybe a Kevster.
Oh, dude. See, I'm a big time hat junkie. I probably have 50 plus hats. But okay, if Houston signs Bumper, I will buy his jersey the minute it goes on sale. So that's where I'll say that one. But here we go. We have a new segment we are going to do for this off season, and we're calling it Rumor City. Uh, we all hear about things about players that could be being traded, and we don't want to be like too deep analysis into that of what may happen in our like for sure happen things. So we are here to talk about some rumors we've heard about players that might be going to uh, other teams. So the first one that we have heard about is Moth to the Gladiators. And right before when we were in pre-show getting ready to record, Anura was telling me, he's like, "Yo, I think Glads are about to announce Moth," and I'm like, "No way! Look at the announcement. That's you. It says all aboard." So it maybe when they'll make a status in a little bit, something like Overwatch League champions are like a moth to a flame or something like that. Who knows?
I don't think they're gonna do that.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
they'll
said
do.
it
No,
too.
actually, it's gonna be that word for word.
Like
You're gonna have
moths
to
to a
sue
flame.
them.
Something, dude. I don't even care, dude.
Maybe it'll just be a Baptiste throwing a lamp.
Ooh, that is,
Yeah,
yeah.
moth like lamp. But that'd be kind of cool.
That's
But yeah,
actually
I don't.
so big brain in the rat.
Yeah, I can think of things sometimes. It's pretty crazy. So we can say Sanguinar, he already announced was a inaccurate one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he
Okay. Well,
also,
we're getting a little ahead of ourselves there. Let's
yeah.
talk about Moth real quick. Do you think Moth is coming to the Glads? And how stoked are
Uh,
you gonna be if they announce that?
I'm excited. I'm excited, and I do think that this is a accurate leak. For the sole reason of he also has shooter glads, uh, which was correct. So it looks like, for the most part, this looks like an accurate leak. I think this might be actually happening. I'm not really that mad if it doesn't happen. The part of the leaks is the part of disbelief and understanding that it might not happen, but also
Oh,
kind of the hype of like, but what if? That's exactly what we're doing right now. Like, what if it does happen, which would be great.
literally
I
though.
think that's literally a crazy good deal, crazy good deal for the Glads to have this. It's an insane roster. It's an insane roster, and if you say, well, Gladiators always come out with a top roster, this is different. This is a different kind of a roster if they get Moth. That is
Yeah,
completely different than anything we've had before.
because he's got
You can
championships.
look back. This is literally a championship roster. Look, tell me what the holes are, and literally people were saying space. If you're saying space is the weakest player on our team,
No.
that means it's a really fucking good team. So yeah, I mean, you can look. I think it'd be exciting. I'm not gonna tell my whole thing of everything, so we can save that for the podcast later. But I do think this could be exciting. Exciting. I do think it's going to happen.
Well, so
Yeah, I'm excited.
you've rehearsed a bit for when gets signed to the Gladiators for the podcast. You're ready?
No, I have more. I have more to talk about. I can
Gotcha.
always talk
Okay, so
about it.
we also do want to mention some of these leaks that we're talking about is coming from the Twitter leaker Halo, which you know what I just realized? How are we gonna keep doing this segment if you done got blocked by the biggest leaker on the Twitter?
Oh
I'm gonna
no!
have
If
to
only I had
screenshot it and
multiple
send it to
different
you
accounts.
or something like that. I'm gonna
I
have to
have.
let you know.
Well, yeah, I can look at the Overwatch League network. I can also look at people retweeting it, and then it saying I can't look at it. So I'm totally fine. I'll find it. I'll find it
Oh,
robust. I have no time,
I'll send
but
you
I'll do it anyway.
screenshots if you need it, dude. Don't worry. I don't get.
It's not even.
I'm nice
I
on
could.
Twitter. I don't bully people like some
I could.
do.
I can literally go to our Twitter, the Overwatch League network Twitter, and then look on there. Like that's
You're
literally.
right.
I'll be fine. I'll be
You're
fine. I'll
totally
figure it
right.
out.
But yeah, like so. Okay, I do want to say
Watch
one
him
thing.
block all of us. What if he listens and just
What if
blocks
we block
all
the?
of us?
I'm not a
That'd be
bully. I'm
hilarious.
only nice.
I didn't bully him. I just made
Oh,
a
laughing
funny
and
gif.
playing is totally bullying, Anura.
Well, maybe you should get leaks wrong.
That is
It's not
something
bullying
that
when you
okay.
don't do your job.
So up until this season, Homeboy has been like pretty accurate, and then this season, it almost seems like somebody on the inside was like, "Hey, screw you for all these leaks. We're gonna prank you and make you get stuff wrong." Because
I think
usually,
someone in the Overwatch League is literally just feeding him information.
see, I'm curious of that too because he has been like pretty accurate up until like this season. He has had more misses than he's had since heard of Dude. So one of the things he did predict was Sanguinar to Mayhem, and then has come back and been like, "Yo, I didn't say that was for sure. That it's a possibility, and that it's probably not happening." Which is kind of sucks because Sanguinar would have been pretty good for the Mayhem. We might actually, oh, dude, honestly, if Jexay goes to the Mayhem, which would be a great signing for them, and that's another rumor I've heard is Jexay to the Mayhem. That would be a that'd be pretty lit. I would cheer for them to win if they weren't playing Houston, most likely. So,
Well, Jexay is also former Element Mystic, so you have to put that in account.
so you
Uh,
think that he they might be looking at him for Dallas?
I think he might be trialing or talking with, but
Okay.
he definitely is still LFT. Put a post is like, please pick me up.
Yeah,
I don't
like
want to
yesterday or the
go.
day before.
Oh my god, that was like 3 days ago. Yeah, and he's like, please don't make me go to the military. And I'm like, please someone pick him up. This guy's too wholesome. I need him in the league.
For real
Also,
though.
he's pretty good. He's pretty good. His Lucio's pretty tight.
And
So
okay, here is another deep cut rumor that I heard earlier today. I was watching a certain ex Houston main tank on stream, and they said they were almost for sure going to be back in the Overwatch League next season. So I don't know
I
who
know
it is.
exactly where he's going. It's Paris.
You think Muma's going to Paris?
Yeah, there was leaks of So Fact Fiction accidentally leaked some scrims from the Paris Eternals, like the little scrim blocks, whatever.
Oh,
And
tell
Moon
me
was
more. I
on
don't
it.
know about this.
Or I can send you it later. But it
Yeah,
had a
do
whole bunch
that.
of players on it, and it looked like it was definitely a team. It looks like there was a team, and
There was a team playing.
there was a team, and so yeah, I think if he's going anywhere, it'd be there. I don't see him being picked up from an org that's not looking for a budget. He needs to redeem himself, and
Okay, I agree.
yeah, I mean, I still
Oh,
think
noble.
he'd still be solid, but who knows?
Yeah, I do. I think he kind of got a. I think he might have been one of like a little bit boomed, and I think there might have been something going on inside of Houston that was kind of booming him because I was watching his stream, and he's popping off. Like I was just checking in to be like, yo, is he like burnt out on Overwatch and just playing something else, or like some players get burnt out on Overwatch is like, screw it, I'm not playing tank. I'm just gonna be silly and play DPS the whole time. But now he was tryharding and like you know, playing pretty good Overwatch. Playing off tanks actually is one of the things I noticed. Like I said, significant amount of Sigma and Roadhog, which I guess the whole off tank main tank line is super blurred, and we could do a whole episode about the difference between off and main tanks. But anyways, here comes another. See, we've been trying since it's over off season. We've just been kind of like I've been trying to come up with some segments to spice in and to like start some new segments because we're not going to be able to be like last week on Overwatch League, next week on Overwatch League. That's the show. We're going to, come up with some segments and some more little fun stuff to do during the off season. But one of the things we want to have going that we talked about in previous episodes is our free agent tracker. So uh, we are decided to talk about some free agents that we definitely think will be needing to find some teams. Um, so had the idea we each pick a couple free agents that we want to talk about, but I think we're lying if we ignore the fact that I think universally one of the biggest free agents this offseason that would have been on both of our lists is Rascal. So I just put him at the top so we can talk about him at the beginning. We have Rascal, who has been on the San Francisco Shock for both their winning seasons, has played multiple roles for the team, and is by no means a dud. He is honestly like the flexibility level of hydration, but even a higher skill ceiling. Like Rascal's kind of insane. So it's kind of like he's playing free agent right now because he probably has offers from most teams with money. Um, what do you think about Rascal? You think he's definitely said he's LFT, so I think Rascal tweeting looking LFT, those he could send a tweet that just said LFT and that guarantees him a spot into the Overwatch League. Like if he wants to be on a team, somebody's gonna pick him up. So a couple prospects that we have for Rascal. In my mind, I've thought about maybe the Hangzhou Spark, who signed Architect, who previously was on the same team. I've heard they're actually like homies, like Rascal and Architect. They duo together like outside of Overwatch League stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if he wants to play on a team like that. And then another team that's up in the air that we know has money to spend, that we know is going to be spending money, New York XL. Rascal on New York XL. Dude, that'd be pretty sick. What do you think, Anura, about Rascal? What do you have any ideas other than those two of teams that he would make any team he joins better, but teams
Yeah.
that realistically are like somewhere Rascal might be going? Also, those things I just said, pure speculation out of my head. I ain't a leaker. I'm just thinking about, you know, teams with money and people we've seen him play with before.
I'm leaking it now. He's going. He's going to Washington, obviously.
You think so?
Where, yeah, 100%. Yeah, totally. I'm leaking it now. Obviously, that's where he's going. If I'm correct, yeah, I'm a leaker now, and I'm always right about this stuff. 100% win rate. If I'm
Just
wrong,
retire
then
100% win rate.
you can make fun of me and put laughing emojis over my tweets, and then I'll block you. So we'll do that. But I think actually I do like Washington for him. Overall, he could go anywhere, and we talked about this. He can go anywhere. I do not think he's going to the Boston. I think we can rule that out. I do not think he's going to Paris. I think we can rule that out.
I don't think
I don't think he's going to London.
either.
I think we can rule that out. I don't think he's going to Vancouver. We can rule that out. The rest of the teams. Is there any other budget teams I'm not thinking of?
Honestly, I wouldn't expect Rascal to go to a team like Chengdu Hunters. I could.
Yeah, he would.
I just don't
I
see
could
it.
see. I could see Chengdu doing some wild stuff and just
You're
letting
right.
Rascal run free. But I think you're
Also,
correct on
I
that
don't
statement.
I don't see him going to Atlanta for no reason other than I don't think that Baptiste looks cool with the Atlanta skins. But that's just personal.
Well, I don't think he's going to Shock.
Oh yeah,
for
he's not
certain
going to Shock,
reasons.
bruh.
So we've narrowed it down to I think 14 teams. Maybe not Valiant. I don't know what's going on with Valiant
I doubt
budget
he'd
this
go.
year.
Oh, sorry. I think your mic's cutting a little bit, but I think that we would rule out most likely the Outlaws because I think Outlaws are gonna go full Western roster.
I think they are going to be mixed.
You do?
100% yes.
See, I thought if they were gonna play a mixed team, I don't think they would have got rid of Meko. I really don't.
I don't think they'd have the coaches they have, and I think they have some people. I'll show you something later. But
Oh,
for
secret
me,
time.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of we're talking about it. But overall, I think that Houston they're going to make the best team possible. I don't know how big their budget is. I know it's not going to be the biggest budget. I know it's not going to be the smallest budget. But to make the best team, you're gonna have to go you're gonna have to mix some stuff up. I think overall, I think the coaches felt like it wasn't the best route they were going with the current players they're having. It already shows that they might want to resign with some of these players. It also already shows that they finally got rid of some of these players that they couldn't before, and so anything can happen with Houston. I don't think they're going full Western. I think I said maybe I thought they were earlier, but now that it looks like it, I think that they could literally pick up anyone.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely.
But I don't want to see your ass go to Houston Outlaws.
I definitely just don't think Houston would have dropped Jexay, Repel, Meko, all three if they were gonna stay a mixed roster. At the very least, Meko would have been coming back. So
Maybe the contracts just weren't that good, and they couldn't pay those contracts, and
Yeah.
so they got rid of them. They were already really based off of their previous roster. So money alone, they could be going for some players that they think will be good, and they just couldn't sign these players. I mean, Meko's a
You
big
think they're
name.
going
Rappel was going to get money later on. Jexay was probably going to get more money later on. It's one of those things where if they couldn't re-sign them, they can't pick them up again.
Yeah, it's I don't know. They might be going like LA Valiant route.
And not to mention how much money they just spent on Dante, because Dante wasn't cheap.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But here, I've got another free agent that I've seen coming out of contenders that I think definitely Overwatch League ready, and that is the young and beautiful Tracer Master Jonah. Jonah. Yeah, we're gonna say it, Jonah. Have you been watching much contenders? Because this latest round of games I kind of haven't been able to keep up with because just the schedule didn't work out. But last weekend when there was a bunch of contenders on, it was like matching up with the times I was off. So I got to watch a ton of games. And out of pretty much a lot of the players I saw, I definitely think this is one of them that we could see come into the Overwatch League and making a pretty big splash. Anura, do you know anything about this dude or the young and beautiful team?
So, I hate to break it to you, but there's literally talking to 2-3 lost to Raspberry Racers. GG's probably my last match. I'm not getting Overwatch League playing contenders anymore. So basically, he's
Who's he
like,
talking
if
about?
I Jonah,
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Jonah,
Sorry,
yeah, that's
your
literally on his
mic kind of
Twitter.
cut it a little.
Yeah, I was talking about Jonah, and this is literally a tweet. He's like, I'm not making a Watch League. Sucks. If he were to make it, I could see him going to the New London or Paris. This isn't based off of his skill; it's just based off of the region and how much he's known, which is not that much. So it sucks to see that, but yeah, it's one of those things where it sometimes it just doesn't work out, and it sucks to
Okay,
see.
I
But
think it's way too early to be like, I'm not making Overwatch League. There's a long off season. He might have had a trial with one team that was like, nah, or maybe two teams that were like, nah.
well,
There
how many teams are
is.
going to give him a trial right now? You got to put that in his perspective
You're
as well.
right, and I think, but there's a long off season ahead of us, so there's plenty of time for teams to trial people, sign people, have downtime, silent times, because adding to our rumor mill, the rumor is that it's going to be April before Overwatch League restarts, and most people think that's because of Overwatch 2, and then we're going to be in Overwatch 2 League or Overwatch League 2. What's it going to be? But by then, that's a lot of time, so it would almost make sense to have teams that are going to be, working on. You know what I'm saying? Where teams are going to be making signings over the next few months. Like
Oh
in the
yeah,
past, we've
yeah,
had much
100%.
shorter off seasons. So I think
I
this
just think
is
you honestly picked one of those players that it just probably wasn't he's good, he is, but I don't know if he's going to make it. Sucks to see. I don't know if he's mentally ready to make it
that's
anymore. I think
possible too.
he might just be like, this is it. This is fine. I'm fine with this, which sucks to see. But yeah, it's harsh. And but there's only 12 slots per team, and it's really hard to get your name out there as well as, especially in EU contenders, bro. It's so hard. And maybe I see him on either London or Paris, but I think Paris actually has a really good chance to signing some players that um are getting kind of where it's their last option. And so I don't know. It's a harsh one, but I think that's what's gonna happen.
So who's on your off-season radar, Nura?
Off season radar.
Free agent radar.
Ooh. I mean, I was not ready for this. I was very
No, you
confused by
good. I
this
got a
one.
couple more. How about
Yeah, say another one. I'll
we got
figure it out.
Linkser from the Houston Outlaws, which anyone listening to this podcast knows it's one of my favorite players. But dude is mechanically insane. For a second, he kind of strayed into the Valorant land and was streaming, playing a lot of it. But now, there's Overwatch streams every day, duoing with random people to, like, I guess, connect. But, like, some of the just he hits shots that almost nobody else would hit. So I definitely do not think that Linkser is a player that is washed, and for sure could find another team. So that's definitely on my off-season tracker or free agent. I got my eyes on him during the free agent season. Teams I think that could really use a player like Linkser. Let's be real. Atlanta Reign could really use a player like that. We don't have. I could think. Well, I mean, we could say Paris for every single one we go through, but there's a lot of
Paris is an easy, choice for a lot of
yeah,
people.
for a lot of teams. I think we could see Linkser. Hear me out. This is a stretch. Playing for New York, like that's a possibility. Um, I don't know, dude. Like maybe that's just one of my wish list team. Like I would be so stoked for that, but I definitely think dude's 100% coming back next year for Overwatch League. So where he goes, that's real big question up in the air. He did say on stream the other day that he thought there's almost no way he's going to go back to Houston. So like how they did where they they didn't officially announce Dante, and then they did, so it does not look like that's going to be happening with him. So, yeah, I don't know. What do you have any ideas?
I mean, Toronto is another one. They have logics. Maybe not going to happen, but could. Um, I mean, honestly, he could be a lot of teams where they just have him because they know he can pop off.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trying to think of some other options. There's Toronto, Vancouver, maybe. Vancouver's one of these people we haven't talked about yet.
Don't think Toronto because they have logics and they would he'd fill
Right.
pretty much the same roles.
But Vancouver's in this
Vancouver is a big one. Actually.
interesting position where right now we don't know what's happening with Shockwave either. Shockwave, he is free agent. We don't know what's going on with him. Maybe we'll talk about him after this, but it puts Vancouver in this interesting situation to where they still have Dalton. Dalton's a great hit scan.
Yep.
But they could sign another player and really pop off with them. I think Vancouver's going to be a really interesting team where a lot of signings we weren't expecting, maybe some contenders players we weren't ready for, and some veterans that they didn't have previously. But based off their 2-week made roster last time, I'm excited to see what Vancouver can do. Linkser is a very interesting case where I don't know exactly. I think there's very limited options you can go to, especially with it being Western. I think London Spitfire is one that you have to really think about. If they're going full European. And it seems like they are going full European. So actually, we don't know though, because we don't know where any of the London players are going. Yeah, so yeah, it's one of those things where Linkser is such a case to where he's good, he's really good, but we don't know where he fits the best. Honestly, I don't think he fit the best in Houston at all.
Nope, I agree.
There's a lot of times where it was very confusing when you should put Linkser in. I think that's his biggest fault, is that we don't know when to put him in. And so if he does well on a tryout, he's definitely get in. Also, like, his namesake is heavenly. He's an amazing guy. I think that based off his character alone, he should be able to get at least some offers. But we'll see. We'll see where he goes.
And so I kind of want to start, while we're during the off season, to start ending our episodes with just some random speculation, what ifs. Like, we have no information, just how cool would it be if, because I notice we get sidetracked a lot with me saying, imagine if so-and-so signed here. So let's just make it a thing at the end. Okay, here we go. Imagine Bumper getting signed to your LA Gladiators, because we know Muse top tier Winston, and then they get a top tier Reinhardt. What to do next? You could see. I've just been wondering, when are we going to see Bumper coming back to Overwatch League? Because I don't think it's a matter of if. I think it's a when. He might have just got a little bummed with that Vancouver Titans split ups. Like, I got the money to take a year off. Let's go. We might even see him. Oh man, there's so many teams that we could see somebody like Bumper come in and play for. Someone like New York XL, who just lost their main tank. You said,
For me, my main problem with the Bumper discussion is that we haven't. I've seen him streaming every once in a while. The dude has not played any contenders. He's just not been there. I don't think he really is. Maybe he's trialing some teams. Who knows?
Yeah,
but
when you're on a team like that, when you played with the status he did with the Titans, I think he can afford to take contenders off and just chill.
You can say that with any of the Vancouver Titans team, like players. Like, and how many people are in the league?
Less than half, right? Like Slime, Stitch, Jonu.
Stitch, we don't know. Jonu, we don't know. Jonu's a free agent. Rappel is in, but Rappel was like a backup.
Yeah. So,
and then it's one of those situations where maybe they were just really good as a team, and I don't know how well they work off of the team. I think they had it made with each other, and I don't know how well they're taking it off of that. And also, I think Bumper really got burned bad by that team because we don't know exactly what happened, but there's a reason why he didn't get played and Tizzy got played over. Also, where the hell is Tizzy? I don't know why he didn't get signed. He was actually really good, but overall, I'd love to see Bumper on a team again. 100%
Yeah,
would love to see him on a
you
team
could
again.
pick his team. Who are you gonna pick?
If I was to pick a team, who would I pick? I don't know. I think it'd be funny to see him on Toronto.
Ooh, ooh, that is actually spicy. The Canadian
Yeah, just
battles.
say screw you, Vancouver.
That would be very interesting. They did just sign Beast though, so it looks like Toronto's gonna be in that gonna be going that route. But I do like the idea. Personally, I'd love to see him play. Could you imagine how much a player like Jonak would enable him? Like, he's just as good. He's like at that same level as the. Well, maybe
I
not.
don't. I don't think New York would ever sign Bumper.
Yeah, but this is not the segment for what would actually happen. This is the segment for daydreaming and theory crafting.
If Bumper was on NYXL, it would be literally everyone's back. Bumper now. I'm not saying that's not good entertainment, but that's exactly what's going to happen. Because they now I think they are trying to get more aggressive. But they've always been a passive team,
You're right.
and Bumper's not passive at all.
Which is part of the reason that I'm just like, yo, we get him in there.
Oh no, Roki just retired.
You
Not
coming in with the
Roki.
late breaking news on here, Nira.
Yeah, Roki just retired.
That's not super surprising, to be for real though.
He's going to be a coach, but this is really sad because I think he had a lot of potential. I liked him. I think he looked good when he was playing in between them getting Cruz and who was a previous main support. Shoot. Either way, he left, and then they grabbed Cruz afterwards. But Roki was a solid main support. It's sad to see him go. I'm excited to see him coach, but this is very sad.
Yeah, so
Um,
dude, I think we might be running into our end right here, don't you?
yeah,
You
we
got
started
any?
talking about Bumper on NYXL. Yeah, dude. I think I'm done. I think
Okay,
I'm cooked. I don't know about you.
let's go ahead and let everybody listening know if you, to head on over to your favorite podcatcher, leave us a review. We will be here to talk about it, and we just want to make our show better. If you leave us a review, we will read it on the air. Anura, you want to let everybody know about the Overwatch recall?
Yes, in one moment. Oh no. Okay. You can find it recall. Every Sunday, we release the weekly recall that lists the episode released within the last week. For more info, you can follow Overwatch Recall on Twitter at OW Recall. And if you'd like to show some additional support to our network of Overwatch shows, consider pledging via Patreon. Tier start at just $1 a month. More information can be found at patreon.com/OWL network. You too can join the lights of our master and above patrons Daniel Owl, Kasha, Agent Life, and 044 and helping our network grow. And Booger, how can they contact the show? Are you muted?
I am muted, so you can send an email to the show at contact@owlnshow.com. We have our website, which is owlrecall.com. We're on Twitter at owlnshow. You can find all past episodes of the show at youtube.com/Overwatch League Network. Our Discord is discord.me/OWLN and we are on Twitch at twitch.tv/OWLN show. And we are affiliates, so you can subscribe, you can get the emoticon, and we do stream regularly. We got this show, which is Mondays at 6 p.m., and then Heroes Never Die, which is Wednesdays at 5 p.m. And when the Overwatch League comes back, you will have Overwatch League by the numbers on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. For now, if you want to contact me directly, you can find me at Booger Brains with two Z's, BOOGERBRAINZZ on Twitter. And if you tweet at me, I will play Overwatch with you. Anura, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Anura. I think I'm Happiness. Anura Happiness. ANURAHAPPINES. Get on while you can. It's probably going to change soon. You can probably look up Anura and you'll find me. I have a lighthouse picture. I understand this is kind of frustrating seeing my name change so much,
Oh,
but
can
I
I
love it and
can
it's
I write your
great.
Twitter tag for next week?
You can
That's
send me
okay.
suggestions and I'll
So
think about it.
that's the show. We hope you enjoyed it. You win all of your comp games and stack buckets of SR. And we'll be back next week to talk more Overwatch League. Have a great week.